on YouTube and Spotify and you'll see Afrobeats artists with millions of followers. But does the term do justice to the wide variety of styles, sounds and influences in African pop? In our final show of our special series highlighting themes from South by Southwest, we'll meet African artists challenging preconceptions of music from the continent. Send your thoughts via Twitter and YouTube. Afrobeats is coming to Austin, Texas, as South by Southwest reaches its climax this weekend. Dozens of artists are due to showcase their talent over the final 3 nights of the festival, bringing their music to new audiences. And Malika Bilal met one of the biggest Afrobeats names taking part, STANLEY ENOW. But before that, let's hear the music he is bringing to South by Southwest.
This isn't the end of the road. Forever, forever, you my Cinderella. Together we grass and gold. End of the road. This isn't the end of the road. I miss you forever, my sister. I know you'll be watching me next to God. This one is for you, babe. Wanna take a ride with you, babe. This one is from Young Bangando.
I am here with STANLEY ENOW. He's a renowned Cameroonian artist and rapper. He is here in Austin, Texas as part of a massive 3-night showcase of African artists here at South by Southwest. It is so good to have you here and spending time with us when you just got into town. Really appreciate it. I know our audience will as well. For our audience that isn't yet familiar with your work, how would you describe your music?
I'm an artist that, I make music, and it's been a while that I'm in the business, and I'm also a business journalist, by training, the music halls, and that's my first love, and that's what I'm doing right now.
STANLEY, there are so many artists from the continent, and they often get grouped into this umbrella, which the term often is Afrobeats. Does that bother you? What does Afrobeats mean to you? What does that label mean?
I mean, it's a movement. It's more of a movement, not a sound. It's more of a movement now, like the African vibe in general to me, so Afrobeats, that's what it is. But now you have people who are into Afropop. You have people who just do like 100% rap, but with African kind of beats, you know what I mean? So you wouldn't tell me that those people don't fall under the category of African artists or not in the wave. I wouldn't say so. I mean, it's just a movement that really describes how far the African music scene and the culture has come with a pop sound, you know what I mean? So that's why you can have Afrofusion.
You're going to be performing at South by Southwest, but before you do, freestyle for us a little bit.
Oh, cool. So I'm gonna do something in French.
Okay, go for it.
Yo, what's up? Salut, je m'appelle Stanley, je suis à Austin. Je suis dans la place, je suis Nami, appelle-moi Faustin. Appelle-moi le doctor, #1, just popping. Every day, all day, we'll be rapping. Now, let me do my new song. My Way is the new hit song, the new wave in Cameroon. Me, I define my way. My brother, find your way too. Life not turn by turn. Demain pour toi va sortir. Me, I define my way. My sister, find your way too. Hey, life not turn by turn. Demain pour toi va sortir. So just follow me, yo. Cheers.
I love that. Find My Way. That is your latest single, of course. How did you make your way into music?
Basically, music made its way into me, because I remember back in school, I used to dance, break dance, with the proliferation of hip-hop music in Africa, break dance came in, and, I used to pop, I used to lock, on sounds of Missy Elliott, the Genuine and everything, so, I mean, it just arrested me like that, I was in school. I fell in love with the word, with the verb, I started a little bit of poetry. So, it was just me, just being that guy, in the neighborhood, always trying to talk to people, always trying to, having this, it just came into me because it made me a little bit very different from everybody else in the house, because, I was thinking, and, in Africa, the hip-hop kinda, vibe, when in a normal African home, sometimes the parents is gonna see you like a crazy guy, so right. I just started, having a different kind of accent from my brothers, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just I mean, the virus just came into me like that, and up till now, I just got with the flow.
Last question for you. Are there any young up-and-coming artists on the continent, whether in Cameroon or other places, that you're seeing and you say, I want to help them, or they're doing, you know, I see them coming up,
Yeah.
and other people should know about them?
Yeah, you know, in the continent, there's a lot of people. I wouldn't really say young, up-and-coming, because, I mean, I see them as the guys of tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like, in Cameroon, you have this guy called Tizi Panchako. He's super, super nice, super talented, and I just signed a new artist called Daiko, you know, so I'll be dropping this new song, I think once I'm back in the country, you know. He's gonna be shooting his first big video in a couple of days, so I mean, I'm just trying to use the little power I have to empower other people. You know, there's a couple of nice people. Check out Daphne from Cameroon. She's super nice. She's super big. You know, and yeah, you know, I mean, if you go to YouTube me, you're gonna see the rest behind me.
Right, because you worked with lots of African artists. Thank you so much, Stanley. I know this has been fantastic.
Oh, you said
Thanks
on them right.
Of course I did. I practiced. Stanley ENOW from South by Southwest.
Thank you, Malika. Thank you, Stanley. We are joined now by major artists who often appear on Afrobeats playlists, but also have a very distinct style of their own. ADEKUNLE Gold is a Nigerian singer-songwriter whose work draws on elements of high life. His albums have ridden high in the Billboard World Albums chart. He joins us from Austin, where he is due to perform at South by Southwest. Simi is a singer-songwriter from Nigeria. Her music features Afro-pop sounds and has hit the top 10 in the Billboard World Music Chart. She joins us from Lagos. And from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, we have Bien Aime Baraza and WILLIS Austin CHIMANO. Hello, gentlemen, from Soul to Soul, a group that has won several MTV awards, as well as the best group in the whole of Africa. Congratulations to you. Let me share this tweet with you, guests. This is from Propane Prime. I think all artists work hard, but African artists are making incredible strides and inspiring millions despite various limiting factors. Simi, you pick up first of all. This idea of you working incredibly hard to make your music. Can you give us an example?
I guess I could say that the odds, it's very possible, or you can say that the odds are kind of against African artists because, you know, we're already like in countries that are like third world countries, you know, so you have to, you know, you don't necessarily have the platforms that you need. They're not like at your beck and call. You don't just have them when you want to. So you have to work extra hard to get the kind of attention that you need, you know, to attract to your music. So that too is definitely right.
I think it's always hard for an artist to describe their own music. So I'm going to get Soul to Soul to tell me, how would you say Simi's music kind of resonates for you? How would you describe it? Because I can't get her to describe her own music. Gentlemen, how would you do it? What would you describe? How would you do it?
The most, like, album she dropped it last year was the album of the year.
Oh,
I think her music is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
An amazing producer, songwriter, artist, and had the privilege of working with her. Yeah, and so like,
and Simi's music is Simi the best.
Yeah,
just so honest and so cool. So
Thanks,
calm.
guys.
We love you.
Oh, so feeling the love there. I apologize for the connection. Isn't it ironic? We're talking about music and audio, and the connection from Nairobi isn't that great, but we did get the gist of what you were saying. So let's not talk about Simi. Let's listen to her. Have a listen to Ayo.
My blessing come now. Favor fall down on me. Goodness and mercy follow me every day. Everything when I touch for this life, anything when I want. She not much one, oh, she not pushy, oh. Now me get her. If they're the dirty, no mind them. If bottom belly come, me you buy them. My time don't come, yo.
ADEKUNLE, it's so good to have you here in the mix. When you first started making music...
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. When you first started making music, what was your aim? What were you trying to do?
So I think I didn't get it wrong. I didn't get it right at first. I was basically trying to sound like somebody else. I think for every morning I woke up that time and I was not Bruno Mars, I was always angry. Like
Oh.
I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to.
Did you have the dance
really
moves? Did you have the Bruno dance moves?
Sadly, I still don't have that. I think I try now, but yeah. But then I was always writing and then trying to sound a little pop, like American pop, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. I really grew up enjoying King Sunny Ade, Ebenezer Obey.
That's old school. That's back in the day, from the 60s.
I know.
My dad used to have that record. He used to play the records. Yeah. Oh, I love Sunny
my dad always played that. So I kind of just picked interest. Yeah, and then I grew up to listen. I started listening to a lot of indie sounds, right? The Script, the Fray, you know. So they kind of influenced my sound. So I kind of just tried to merge King Sunny Ade and then the indie sound, and that's what informed my own sound right now.
What's a good way to describe King Sunny Ade? Would that be high life? It's like that big, bold sound.
It's juju.
Yeah.
It's juju.
All right, juju.
It's juju, and then
So
that's high life.
Those were your influences. Let's see how they've turned out. Let's have a listen to ADEKUNLE. This is his latest.
I realize the mountain I've been climbing is nothing but sand, I didn't know I already had the answers. No, I didn't know. But if I had known, the life I was searching for was looking me right in the eye. Oh, if I had known, the life I was searching for was already my own.
Kata Kata on Twitter says we could have never felt more proud to have our own genre of music on the airways of just more than African. So really kind of appreciating the sound that you're putting into your music. ADEKUNLE, how long did it take you to find that sound?
I think it took me like a year. Yeah, and then thankfully
that doesn't seem very long.
It took Simi speaking some senses into my head, because I remember when I was always because I was always sending her songs to listen to, and then she would say she never felt any of them, but then when I did a cover of a song, I did a cover of one song, and then she said, I think you should sound like this more. And I gave it a shot, and then I'm here now.
All right, there's something I should really reveal about you to all of Nigeria, saying, hey, why aren't you mentioning this? Have a look at this headline. Simi Gold, finally video emerges from singer's wedding ceremony. So you are both well-known singers. I have to say Simi is higher in the charts than you are, ADEKUNLE. No pressure. But how do you work together as a musical couple? Do you do totally different things? Your sound and Simi's sound is so different.
Well, I don't know who you're asking, but I think that we understand space, we understand personal space, not just like personal outside of music, inside of music as well. Sometimes he's stubborn if I make suggestions and then he's like, I want to do it this way. You know, I respect, because sometimes I'm wrong as well. And he also advises me as well. So like we're not like missing each other's spaces. So I mean, I think it works for us.
Gents of Soul to Soul, we have some specific questions in for you. TJ says, I love their songs because most of the lyrics tell a positive story about the continent of Africa to the Western world. CHIMANO, pick up on that, this idea of your being so positive with your lyrics.
Well, I would say the music, I don't want to feel like it's written with the intent of it being positive. It's just the stories of our lives. Yeah, like it's music from the heart that goes to the heart. And honestly, it's just also writing what you go through, writing about what you feel and how we translate it. And it kind of falls into a genre that is defined as SAUTI soul in that regard.
There's something that I also want to bring in here, looking at this tweet, because Soul to Soul is legendary for its collaborations. Why do you do that, Bien-Aimé?
No, I was reading a report the other day that said in Africa, the trade between African countries is non-existent. So most African countries are getting most of their products from the West, from or China, the Middle East.
Sure.
The only thing that's trading freely and fast in the continent is music. Musicians collaborating between countries is the best and the most formidable form of trade we've seen in the continent in a long time. So I think it's important that for this generation we collaborate and we work with as many musicians and gain as many and build a village of amazing music.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm getting the gist of what you're saying. Again, I apologize to our viewers who are watching. The audio is very bad. There's no reflection on how they perform. They are amazing in performance. I want you to have a listen to one of their latest tracks. It features Nyashinsky. It's called Short and Sweet. Have a listen.
I think you fell in love too fast. African nights and a cool rush. And I remember you refused to kiss me. And now you're using my toothbrush. You say you think I talk too much, that I'm not your type and you don't like the hype, cause your daddy is a preacher. Now you're wearing my t-shirt, and I don't want this night to end before you know I love you. I don't want this night to end before you know I need you.
ADEKUNLE, when Stanley was on a little bit earlier on the stream in that report with Malika, we were talking about Afrobeats as a sound, and it's not the same music as Afrobeat, which is the kind of music that Fela and then Femi actually kind of brought to the world music scene. It's very different, but it's also kind of almost a catch-all term. When people say that to you, do they call you part of the Afrobeats movement?
Interestingly, I don't get called Afrobeats. So
beats.
I think for the most part,
beats.
Beats. Yeah. So I think for the earliest part in my career, a lot of people call my sound alternative, and I argue that all the time because it means you're saying that if you don't listen to me, if you don't listen to somebody else, you can listen to me. I'm like, I want you to listen to me. Everybody should listen to me. So I don't have a problem with Afrobeats if gradually we're finding ways to kind of put African music in a home, right? But we should also understand that there are other sounds. So Afrobeat, the original one, which is by Fela, is more jazz and then a lot like African instruments, right? So, and then that's not what most people are doing today. So Afrobeat, I think, came from London, and then I think it's just a way to just make African music have a home aside the world music that we're used to. So I think it's a good step in the right direction right now because, I mean, I feel like eventually we'll begin to understand that there's actually indie sound in Nigeria and there's actually Afropop, you know.
I want to play, Simi, to you a comment from our community. This is for Lana, and she's talking about how you classify different music that's coming out of the continent right now.
The term Afrobeats represents pop music coming out of West Africa, specifically Nigeria, and has now grown to represent all pop music coming out of the continent. And I think that's where the challenge is with the term. It doesn't take into account the diversity of different sounds and genres, and it also doesn't take into account the history of music coming out of West Africa. So a genre specifically called Afrobeats that was extremely popular and internationally renowned in the 70s and beyond.
We are not live right now, Simi, on YouTube, and Edwin Banda says for Afrobeats, a blend of African music and Western music. I feel the blending of African and Western music is creating a gap in terms of maintaining the true culture of music rhythm with which Africa is identified with. Is this, I'm just wondering, is this an academic conversation? Do you even wrestle with it when you're putting your music together?
As for the term, I don't really wrestle with it. I think that for now it serves its purpose. Like, you know, so many people have already said, sometimes there's a controversy where some people say Afrobeat is originally by Fela, but then now they just classify every single person and then doesn't take into account all the different genres that, you know, my African artists might be doing, you know. But at the end of the day, I feel like right now it's serving the purpose. There was a time nobody was talking about any African music outside of Africa. So if it means that you're going to pay attention to us, you know, right now, and what we have to sacrifice is be called Afrobeats. I think we can get by with that now, but hopefully as we go along, it gets better, and then you see that there's not just, you know, like one sound of, you know, in African music. There's more to it.
Because there's an entire continent and different regions have different sounds, very specific sounds as well. This is Carlos Cali Guzman, and he says that Western artists are out to capitalize on African artists. Afrobeats have been huge, but they never get the recognition they deserve, except when Westerners make it their thing, where they go to the continent and they say, oh, I'm going to work with ADEKUNLE, I'm going to work with Simi, and then that will make me sound cool. ADEKUNLE, do you have a take on that?
I mean, yeah, there's no denying that that's happening right now. But whether they like it or not, our music has been traveling like for a long time, right? I mean, remember African Queen, that's still classic anytime, you know? So whether they make it look cool now, it doesn't stop the fact that our music has always been cool, you know, and then it's traveled around the world. And then think about Oliver Twist, Banj, think about Wizkid, Ujeleba, you know? So, yeah, it's a thing that they make it, they have a way of making it still in the culture now and then making it look like it's a cool thing now, but it's always been cool. That's my take.
Tongwan La Simi tweets this, the music that you're making, the music that ADEKUNLE is making, future of music, my opinion, other genres of music are exhausted. Afrobeats, Afropop, Afrosoul, whatever you want to call it, offers fresh options. Simi.
Yeah. I think that it's fresh, especially for Westerners, because this is something that they, as much as you say, like you were saying, some people maybe like the Western culture, they're trying to steal it, but you can't really replicate it because it's not something that's original to you. So you can only try. I think that's what they're so fascinated by. They're so excited by, you know, like, oh, look at this thing that we just discovered, but you can't really say it the same. You know, like if we're putting our language or putting Pidgin English, for example, you can't say it exactly. You can try, you know, and I think that regardless of how much they may try to steal it, they can't really do that. So they still need us. And I think that that's where we, you know, have to put our foot down and say, okay, this is, if you like my music, you like what I'm trying to do, you can't take it away from me, though you have to involve me, whatever you want to use it for. And that's where we hold on to the power that we have.
ADEKUNLE, you're sitting in Austin, Texas right now. You're going to be performing at South by Southwest. What is it that you're going to be doing for that audience? It's an audience that loves music. What are you going to bring to them that no one else can actually bring?
So last year, I did my first South by. I did 3 stages.
Yeah.
I did stages that were not necessarily populated by Africans. And then it was really amazing. I got a lot of great feedback. And then this year, because I have new songs and I have like... I've gotten better at my live performances. So it's going to be a lot different this time. We're going to have fun. We're going to dance. It's going to be interesting, really.
Interesting. I like that word, interesting. What do you mean by interesting? Scary?
Oh, it's going to be crazy because we're going to dance. Even though I don't know how to dance, but on stage I'm the best dancer. You know. So.
Oh wow! So, that's adrenaline of being on stage. I would like to see that. I actually now want to get on the plane to see you dance under adrenaline. I want to come. Simi is laughing. How does your husband dance, Simi? Be honest. No one's watching, just international TV. He doesn't dance well. Okay. Oh, that's sad.
No. I think no, but like it's not like in a bad way. He's not like a professional dancer. But then it's like he said on stage,
when he's feeling it.
Certain belief in himself. He's just like, and nobody can dance the way he does, and I think that makes him the best dancer on some level.
You're rude.
All right. ADEKUNLE and Simi, who are actually married to each other, thank you so much for talking to us about your music that you're making in the continent and elsewhere, and also the Soul to Soul. Thank you so much. The audio got us, but at least we got a little essence of you and we're able to play your music. I have to say thank you so much to all of the team, Malika and Iyad and Sonia, who are over in Austin, Texas. Iyad was on camera and editing. Sonia was the film producer extraordinaire. Malika Bilal, you know her, genius. Thank you so much to the team out at South by Southwest. We will continue on the stream next time. Thanks for watching.